Hello, I'm Catherine Maguire. Welcome to the Soul Alchemist Podcast. This week, I got a fabulous question from Nina, and I want to share it with you because I know so many people will resonate with this question. So, Nina's question is this: my old life / identity is dying. I'm in the liminal space between who I was and who I'm becoming, and I've lost so many friendships. Some due to my own choice, due to a lack of reciprocity and balance. I've become aware of my old patterns to overfunction to receive love, and realized that almost all of them were rooted in this imbalance. How does one manage the loneliness in this space where your old connections are no longer fulfilling, but you haven't met aligned connections yet? And then she goes on to say, bonus question: how will you know when you've met the right people who are representative of your new identity and not your old one, especially when there is so much fear around choosing wrong again? So, Nina, thank you. Thank you for that question. Thank you for your honesty and your vulnerability. I really think a lot of people will resonate with that question today. And to talk about the question and to answer the specific parts, I want to use a metaphor, because I think if we can put the kind of overlay it on a metaphor, this will make a lot of sense to help people figure out where they are on this transformation journey. So I want to talk about the caterpillar and the butterfly. And I know you've probably heard this, you've seen this metaphor used 1,000 times, but caterpillar to butterfly is an oversimplification of what actually happens. So I want to explain to you what actually happens as a transformational journey. Okay? So the caterpillar does not start out as a caterpillar. The caterpillar starts out as a teeny, teeny, tiny, sometimes even microscopic egg. And that egg hatches, and out of that egg comes a little larvae. And that's what we know as a teeny, tiny caterpillar. And that caterpillar comes out of the egg with a voracious appetite. If you have ever had caterpillars in your garden, you know how much they eat. And that little teeny tiny caterpillar will eat and eat and eat and eat and eat until its physical body it's stuffed in there. The physical body is too small. It can't hold it anymore. So it has to molt. It has to shed its skin. And it sheds its skin, and it's still hungry. So it eats and eats and eats and eats and eats and grows and grows and grows. And again, sheds its skin again. It molts again. And this process happens 4 or 5, maybe 6 times, depending on the type of caterpillar. Okay. And then something different happens. The caterpillar eats and eats and eats and grows and grows and grows. But this time, there's a different stimulus inside it. This time, it's not about molting. It's not about shedding its skin. It's about transformation and transforming into something else. So the caterpillar finds a branch and it attaches itself to the branch, and then it sheds its exoskeleton. It sheds that, that green outside skin that we know to be a caterpillar. And the chrysalis emerges. So what happens in the chrysalis? What happens in the chrysalis is the same digestive fluids that the caterpillar used to eat all those leaves, to eat all your cabbages, it now uses to eat itself. It uses its digestive juices to digest itself. The caterpillar inside the chrysalis, it dissolves. So if you were to cut open a chrysalis at this point, what you would see is kind of a gooey mess. Now, everything doesn't dissolve. The nervous system remains, the brain remains, the mouth is recycled into a proboscis, but quite a lot of the caterpillar actually dissolves. But it carries forward some of who it was. And what's amazing about this stage, inside the chrysalis, inside all this kind of goo, there's what are called imaginal disc cells. Imaginal disc cells. And the imaginal cells hold the code for the butterfly. And the amazing thing about the imaginal disc cells is one cell does not have all the code. You need those cells working together, coming together to make the butterfly. And that's what they do. Those cells start to replicate, divide, and multiply. And then they start to make the antennae and the wings and the thorax and the body. And in the chrysalis, from this goo, a butterfly is formed. But the journey's not finished there yet, because the butterfly is still inside the chrysalis. It has to emerge into the outside world. So it has to make a hole in the chrysalis and squeeze itself out. It crosses a threshold from the safe inner holding of the chrysalis out into the vastness of the world. Just feel that for a moment. You're in there, in your chrysalis. You've transformed your physicality. You've transformed the very essence of who you are, from a caterpillar to a butterfly. You think you're amazing. And you have to leave this and go to the outside world. And even when that butterfly gets out that little hole in the chrysalis, out into the inside world, the journey's not over. The work is not done. Because when that butterfly emerges, its wings aren't straight. They're all compacted together. They're wet. And there's still some growing to do of those internal organs. So the butterfly has to wait in the outside world. It has to stretch its wings, allow the blood to flow down into its wings, allow the wings to dry, allow those organs to finish growing and to stabilize. It has to stabilize in the coherence, in the frequency that I'm now a butterfly. And it's a really vulnerable state because it can't fly. It can't defend itself. It can't feed. So it's a really vulnerable place, this last piece. And then depending on the type of butterfly, after 4 or 24 hours, it can take flight and go off into the world as the beautiful butterfly that we all stop and watch in awe and admire. And the cycle begins again. So that's the transformation cycle of a butterfly. So let's walk back through it for a second. We have that first stage, egg. Then we have the second stage, the larvae, where we get our caterpillar. And the caterpillar goes through several changes. And this is really important because change is not transformation. It grows and it grows and it sheds its skin, and it grows and it sheds its skin, and it grows and it sheds its skin, but it's still a caterpillar. So sometimes in our lives, we think we're transforming, but we're not, we're changing. We change jobs, we change countries, we change partners, we change circumstances, we change something. We think, oh, I've transformed. You haven't, you've changed. There's a huge difference. You're still fundamentally the caterpillar. Okay? Transformation happens after we enter the chrysalis. And often there can be huge resistance to that because there's huge fear. I don't know who I'll become. I have to dissolve. I have to let go of who I was. Okay, so there can be huge fear to stepping into that container of transformation. Or sometimes life kicks you into that transformation, into that container of transformation. And it can be really overwhelming. My life's falling apart. I can't stop crying. I don't know what's going on. Everything's different. I'm kind of doing all the things I'm supposed to do, but nothing's working out. It can be really scary. Okay. So that's when we go into the chrysalis. And then we have to dissolve. We have to turn to mush. The identity we clung to, the identity we built up, the identity we formed, either because part of it was a coping mechanism, part of it was just how we survived, part of it was because we thought this is what we have to do to be good enough. It has to dissolve. But the parts of you, the intrinsic parts of you Just like the caterpillar, the brain stays there, the nervous system stays there, some of the breathing function stays there. The essence of you remains. The essence of you remains. It's all the other stuff that has to dissolve. Okay. And then you've got your imaginal selves. What's the bigger dream inside you? What is the imaginal realm you want to step into? What is the life you want to be living? What's the more authentic version of you that wants to come forward? And then when that new version comes into being, when you're ready, you have to step out of the chrysalis. And this is also really scary because you have to cross that threshold out into the outside world. And some people stay in that cocoon, stay in that chrysalis. They don't emerge. It's too big. It's too bad. It's too scary out there. Or some people run out too fast when they're not fully formed. So take your time. There's no rush here. And then when you emerge, remember, this is a really important place. You're vulnerable. You're vulnerable. Take your time. And this is often where a lot of people, when we go into the chrysalis and we have to dissolve, that's where we have an ego death. When we emerge out of the chrysalis, out into the world, and our wings have to dry, this is where we have to have a spiritual death. And I'll tell you why. Because often we emerge from the chrysalis, we go, oh, look at me. I'm amazing. I've been through the dark night of the soul. I've totally transformed. Oh, look, you're all over there. Oh, you're all still caterpillars. Ew. Oh, I'm over here. I did the work. I did the inner work. And while you're there, full on your spiritual ego high, a blackbird comes along and whomp and eats you for breakfast. So when we come out of the chrysalis, this is where we learn humility. This is where we learn vulnerability. This is where we take time to come into the resonance of who we are, accepting all that we've been. So this brings me to Nina's question. Nina has said she's between who she was and who she's becoming. Nina is in the mush. She's in the mush. Congratulations, Nina. It takes a courageous soul to go into the mush. So well done. Well done. And she's lost so many friendships. Her caterpillar friends are gone. Her caterpillar friends are gone. And there's nothing wrong with that, except, as she said, it's lonely. It's lonely in there. She's there on her own. And this phase, this stage of transformation is lonely. And it's lonely for a reason. The reason it's lonely is because in there, in the mush, there is an invitation to look at where we weren't living authentically. And Nina has named it for herself, which is so honest. So thank you, Nina, which is, I've become aware of my old patterns to overfunction to receive love. So your job in the mush is to come into right relationship with yourself, to love yourself, to give yourself that which you are looking for others outside of you to give you. So whether you're in the mush and your pattern has been looking to others for respect, looking to others for kudos, looking to others for validation, looking to others for love in this case, whatever it was, in the mush, you have to give that to yourself. If you're giving your authority away, asking other people, oh, what should I do with my life? You have to find that place of deep wisdom within yourself. So come into right relationship with yourself. And the other part of being in the mush is this. You have access to the imaginal realm. This is where you dream your life into being. The caterpillar has those imaginal disc cells available to it. So this is where you dream. What is the life I actually want? What are the kind of relationships I want to have? What is the kind of life I want to be living? How would a more authentic me show up in the world? And this is a great place to journal. And this is a great place to make vision boards. Allow your imagination to run wild. And what is that? What's that big dream that's inside me? Because if you can dream that dream and do that inner work, give to yourself what you're looking for others to give you, when you cross the threshold and emerge from the chrysalis, you will find your people. you will find your other butterfly friends. And you will find them from a place of, I don't need you to give me love, respect, validation. I give it to myself, but we can share in a journey of mutual interest, mutual appreciation, things we want to enjoy. So we become, bigger than the sum of the parts, and that we all bring our wholeness, our authenticity to the relationship, and take it slow. Often when we're out of integrity, often when we're not being our authentic selves, we leap into relationships. Save me, help me, validate me. Take it slow. Get to know a person the same as you're taking the time to get to know yourself, and use your discernment. Use your discernment. And maybe the things you haven't said before, oh, I feel a little off here. I feel like I'm giving too much of myself away. Oh, I feel like I'm leaning in too much. Voice those things and take it slow and learn to do relationship a new way. The craziest thing in our world is that we are in relationship to everything. We're in relationship to ourselves. We're in relationship to nature. We're in relationship to earth. And we're in relationship to other people. And unless you actively go out and learn it, read about it, study it, take a course, you can go through your whole human life without one person telling you or teaching you or showing you how to be in right relationship with yourself or another being. So you got to learn that, and it takes time. And that's how you'll meet the right people, slowly, gently, with curiosity, with that beginner mind. Let's see if this is how we get on together. And if it's going well, allow it to evolve. If it's not going well, have the courage to say, it was lovely to meet you, but maybe we're just not the right fit for each other. Okay? And then the last piece of Nina's question was, about meeting the right people, especially when there's so much fear about choosing wrong again. Here's the thing. You're going to choose wrong. You are going to make mistakes. And the beauty is, you're supposed to. Because those next lot of hurts, those next lot of things, oh, I didn't do that right. Oh, I've had my heart broken, whatever it is. They become the fuel. They become the stimulus to start the next evolution, the next transformation cycle again. We can walk through the, life with discernment, and we can walk through life with checking in with ourselves and seeing how we're doing. And am I making right choices and good choices that are true for who I am? But we're not going to get it right, and we're going to get hurt. And that's okay. That's part of the human experience. That's where we learn, and that's where we grow. But don't let that stop you having experiences. Don't let that stop you having experiences. That's why we go out into the world. So think about where you are on the journey. We've the egg, we've the larvae, that little caterpillar who then goes through series of changes. Remember, change is not transformation. Transformation starts when you cross a threshold and come into the chrysalis. That's the start point for change. In the change, so much of you will have to dissolve. There will be an ego death. But the elements of who you are in there already, and you've access to the imaginal selves. Who do you want to be becoming? What's the newer, more authentic version of yourself? And then when that butterfly is formed, remember you have to step out of the chrysalis into the world. But go gently, go slowly, because you're vulnerable. Your wings have to stretch out. You have to dry them out. Your organs have to finish growing. And then from that place, take flight and be that beautiful creature that, we stop and watch in wonder and awe, and meet your new butterfly friends. So think about, where are you on the journey? And remember, please remember this as you go about your day. Every single thing the butterfly needed to become a butterfly was in that little egg. In that teeny tiny egg. And if you've ever seen those eggs in the garden, they're tiny, 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 tiny. Everything the butterfly needed to become the butterfly was inside that egg. but you had to go through the various stages of growth, change, and then transformation to become the butterfly. And that takes me to my other question today. So I got a lovely message from my friend Loretta, who said to me, I was talking to someone whom I shared your podcast with, and they loved it, but they were asking me, what exactly does she do? And I thought that was such a great question, because when I started the podcast, I shared it with my clients, I shared it with my friends. And then as the weeks have evolved, people have shared it, which is amazing because I know it's helping people that I don't personally know, but it never occurred to me to explain what I do. So what I do is I help people who are ready to step into the chrysalis, or who are already, life has kicked them into the chrysalis. I provide the chrysalis. I provide the safe container so that you can dissolve. And I guide you through that process of dissolving and finding your inner gold, finding the parts of you that, the parts of you that are authentic, the parts of you that are truly you, the parts of you that you want to carry forward. And I help you connect to that imaginal realm. What is the life you want to live? And how do I bring that into being? And then I take you through that journey, through the mush, through becoming the butterfly, crossing you out the threshold, the other side, out of the chrysalis, and then working with you so that you stabilize into this new identity for who you are. And I do that with a combination of shamanism and energy medicine and some psychological work. But I take my clients on a journey through that process when they're ready for transformation, or when the transformation has started. And that's when I get the call. Something's happening. I can't stop crying. I'm overwhelmed. I'm falling apart. To the outside world, my life looks amazing. My life looks amazing, but inside I'm falling apart. That's where I start. That's where the journey usually starts with me, with people. And I walk them. I put them in that beautiful, safe chrysalis, a safe holding space where you're held and you're looked after. And I guide you through the journey. So this week, where are you on the journey? Where are you on the journey? What's going on for you? And remember, if you're in the mush, have the courage of your convictions to stay there. Remember the essence of who you are. Remember who you are. Give to yourself what you're looking for people outside of you to give you, whether that's love, joy, respect, kindness, whatever it is. Give it to yourself and use this time to imagine, what is that big dream inside you that wants to be born? If you see a tiny caterpillar egg, oh my God, it's so tiny, that the potentiality is in that for a butterfly. And the same is with you. So enjoy dreaming your world into being this week. Have an absolutely beautiful and glorious week. Aho.